Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Dhava Kunja Vihar. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihar. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Thailand. Hare. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 25, Text 7, The Glories of Devotional Service. Āsīnam akarmāṇaṁ tattva-mārgāgra-darśanam sva-sutam devahūtiḥ dhātuḥ saṁsmaratī vacaḥ. Please chant. Āsīnam akarmāṇaṁ Ladies, please. Tam, to him, Kapila, āsīnam, seated, akarmāṇaṁ, at leisure, tattva of the absolute true, mārga-agra, the ultimate goal, darśanam, who could show, sva-sutam, her son, devahūti, devahūti, said, dhātuḥ of Brahmā, saṁsmaratī, remembering, vacaḥ, the words. When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahūti remembered the words Brahmā had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. No purport, text 7. Devahūtir uvāca nirviṇṇā nitarāṁ bhūmann asad-indriya-tarṣaṇāt yena sambhāvyamānena prapannāndhaṁ tamaḥ prabho. Devahūti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen to the abyss of ignorance. Purport. Here the word asad-indriya-tarṣaṇāt is significant. Asad means impermanent, temporary, and indriya means senses. Thus, asad-indriya-tarṣaṇāt means from being agitated by the temporarily manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different statuses of material bodily existence, sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body, and therefore the engagements of our material senses are also changing. Anything which changes is called temporary or asad. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service, therefore, involves freeing the senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of an alloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached asad-indriya, or eternal sensory activities. Eternal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Kapila. Devahūti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapila. Om ajnana-timirandasya gyananjana salakaya chakshurum militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respect and obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Devahūti, she's telling her transcendental son, Kapila, that she's tired, she's sick of the disturbance of the material senses. So this is very important instruction she's giving us, that one has to be tired of this engagement in sense gratification as a disturbance. See it as a disturbance. Most people don't see it as a disturbance. They see it as opportunity to enjoy. But why? Because of ignorance. Because they're in ignorance, they think there is happiness in enjoying the material senses. But in the Bhagavad it is explained that persons who are enlightened spiritually, they don't enjoy the source of misery. The material senses are source of misery. Because in the mode of passion, there is some little happiness in enjoying the senses, but ends up in misery. It ends up in suffering. Because that's the duality of this material world. Happiness, distress. There is enjoyment, there is suffering. So, knowing that, Devahūti, she's very enlightened lady, but the mother of Avatar, Kapila there, she's putting herself in our position just to teach us how to ask proper questions, how to understand that we have to get tired of this impulses of the senses to enjoy the material energy. That is the sick situation of the soul. It's very interesting, Prabhupada saying that we have eternal senses which are covered by the material senses. So the eternal senses' natural engagement is devotional service. It's the natural occupation of the senses. There is an allegory in the Vedas that once the senses assembled together to discuss about the stomach. And they were discussing that the stomach is a tyrant. We are working all day to feed the stomach. And he's exploiting us. We're going to go on a strike against the stomach. So that's what their decision. And after 3 days not feeding the stomach, they start feeling very much weak and discouraged and disturbed. So they have another meeting. They're discussing why we're feeling so weak and disturbed and weak like that. Oh, well, we don't know, but maybe because we stopped serving the stomach. Okay, let's make an experiment. Let's start serving the stomach again, see what happens. And as soon as they start feeding the stomach again, they regain their energy, their enthusiasm, everything. So they have a third meeting. No more strike against the stomach. It's not convenient. So the stomach is like Krishna, and we are the part. The senses, we are the part. So we can't be satisfied unless we serve the center, the stomach. The center of the body is the stomach. So in that sense, philosophically, we need to understand that we can't be satisfied ever unless we satisfy the Lord by devotional service. Once we understand that and act upon it, then we are peaceful and happy. If one tries to be something which he's not, there is no happiness. It's artificial. But if one accepts oneself what one truly is, then there is happiness. And we are naturally eternal servant of Krishna. That's the conclusion. So in ignorance, we believe something we are not. Like the story of the eagle who believed himself to be a chicken. You know the story? Who doesn't know the story? Okay. But there is another story. Most of you already heard the story. I've said it before, but I'm bringing you a new story. And this story is called Die to Live. Die to Live. The story goes, there was an Indian businessman named Kumar. He went to Africa to do business. When he finished his business, he went to a park to amuse himself. And while walking the park, he saw a lot of macaw parrots, on a tree, on the branches of a tree. Macaw, very colorful, big parrots. So he was admiring their beauty. He thought, I haven't seen in India such big, colorful parrot like this. I will catch one and take it home. So he went behind the tree in a low branch. He jumped in and grabbed one of them and put it to sleep and took it to home. Put it in a big cage, beautiful cage, and was feeding him nice fruit and nuts and honey to keep him happy. And his friend come to visit. Oh, where you got such a beautiful parrot? Oh, I brought from Africa. Oh, congratulations. And he started teaching the parrot, words in Hindi. Itne ka paisa hai, and, things like that. He was a businessman. Anyway, I mean to say, a few years ago, scientists were amazed with an African parrot who learned by heart 1,000 words. Not only that, he could compose his own phrases. More amazingly even. So that's a true story. Now the parrot of our story is allegorical. He also learned very nicely many Hindi words and phrases like that. So after a year, Kumar told him, my dear parrot, I'm going back to Africa for business, and I'm planning to go to that same park. And if I see your friends, do you have any message for them? He said, yes, please. If you see them, tell them I miss them very much. I love them very much. But I'm happy in this cage since you are giving me nice nuts and fruits and honey and like that. Okay, I will give the message. So the man finished his business, went to the park in Africa. The same macaw parrot were there on the same tree. So he stood in front of them and gave the message. As soon as he finished giving the message, one of the macaw parrots fell dead. The man was shocked. Poor guy, why he died like this? Maybe he missed very much his friend. Or they were, soulmates. I don't know. I'm sorry, for him. What can be done? Life is mysterious sometimes. Anyway, he went back to his home in India and stood in front of the cage and told his parrot, I saw your friend, I gave your message, but I'm very sorry to tell you that as soon as I finished the message, one of your friends dropped dead. Very sorry to give you bad news. Then the parrot inside the cage is also fell dead. He had a heart attack, fell dead. He was totally dead. So the man was in shock. My poor parrot, I loved him so much, so beautiful. Why he died on me like this? I should have not given him such bad news, Anyway, he was crying, lamenting. Finally, he calmed down. He opened the cage, took the dead body, went to his courtyard, and put the dead body on the grass and went to get some tools to make a grave for the parrot, But as soon as he walked a few steps, the parrot flew away. The man was surprised. You wasn't dead. You cheated me. Why you did this? The parrot said, I did it because my friend from Africa sent me a very important message. And what was the message he sent you? I had to die to live. I had to play the dead to live free, Play the dead. That means the other parrot didn't die either. He just play also the dead. So, and what that means, because parrot can be happy in a cage, no matter how nice food may have. He needs to be free, to have friends, fly here, there, have nest, have partner, whatever. In the same way, the parrot is like the soul, and the body is like the cage. We can't be happy just by sense gratification. We need eternal happiness in the service of the Lord, in the company of the Lord. That's the natural situation, condition of all souls in this material world. So die to live means die for Maya, live for Krishna. Die for ignorance, live for surrender, for loving surrender to Krishna. So when Maya comes to tempt us, we should do like the parrot, play the dead. Like that. So that's the story. Actually, recently I published a book, a small book, only 40 pages. The title is When Times Get Tough. The stories in this book and many other stories like that also. You can acquire it if you like. After the class outside, we can sign few copies if you like. And also the book has anecdotes about Prabhupada in South America, poems also. I will read you one poem though, if you like. It's called Govardhan Parikrama. I travel with my heart to the refuge of your lotus feet. Clear thoughts flow through my mind while I circumambulate the holy mountain, Govardhan. Transcendental joy overcomes my senses. A wave of ecstasy engulfs my body. My hairs stand on end, my tears flow, my eyes shocks up, my voice shocks up. The world appears vacant. I feel intense separation. O Supreme Divinity, O Lord, when will you take possession of this poor heart? And many other things. Anyway, so the agitation of the senses can be calmed down when we engage our senses. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. That's the definition of bhakti. That we engage the senses and the senses proprietor. He's the proprietor of the senses. They don't belong to us. We have them we are borrowing them. So the real owner should be served. Then peace and happiness can be achieved. Otherwise, not possible. So Devahūti asking her son to instruct her in the spiritual life, it shows us, even as her son, but since he's the Supreme Lord, Avatar, she understood that I need to be enlightened because her husband left home because that was the arrangement that between them, that as soon as you get a son, I will leave home. Of course, the son was grown up when he left. So that is teaching us how Vedic culture works, Vedic culture, a very scientific way of living, that even kings will leave their throne, their palaces, go to the forest to get association of sages, get enlightenment, because they know that's the ultimate goal of human life, to achieve eternal happiness in the service of the Lord, of course. There is no other way to get that. So, unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Kapila. One has to be tired of this. I just remembered, this filmmaker Woody Allen. He was interviewed once, and he was asked, I hear that you are very pessimistic. Is it true? He said, yes, I'm very pessimistic about life. Why? You are famous, you're rich, you have many admirers, everybody loves you. Why you're pessimistic? He said, well, since we are born, we have a death sentence on our head. And no matter how rich, beautiful, famous you may be, you can't take it out. So it's not enough reason to be pessimistic. You'll say, yes, of course, but Prabhupada said we have to be very optimistic about spiritual life. Very optimistic. Bright future waits us if we stick faithfully to the process of Krishna consciousness without deviation. Then we can achieve the highest goal. Prema Pumarto Maha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's the highest goal of human being, to achieve Krishna Prem, love for Krishna. Because Krishna can be conquered by even great austerities, penances, meditation, so many things. Only he can be conquered by pure love of his devotees. So that's the secret Mahaprabhu came to bring to everyone. And he thought that by chanting the holy name offenselessly, we can achieve that goal. And the most common offense we do in the chanting is to chant unattentively. And unless we try to improve that by constant time to make our chanting more concentrated, we can make more other offenses too. So it's very important to try to improve this concentration in the chanting. And Jiva Goswami recommends how to achieve it. He said, we should chant in the mood of a helpless child crying for his mother. When the child is hungry, he has to cry to attract the mother's attention to feed him. So unless he cries, she will not know that he is hungry. So in that same way, we shall feel helpless while chanting. Before start chanting, we can pray to the holy name to help us, chant better, concentrate better. Since holy name not different from Krishna, is Krishna himself. So should try to be more attentive. Once a devotee couple asked me a question about this. She was complaining about the husband because the husband liked to put some devotional music while chanting japa, and she didn't agree with that. So he says, okay, it's a spiritual music, what's the problem, So they came to me, asked me my opinion. And I told the husband, your wife is correct. Although this is devotional music, it is a spiritual distraction. You can't pay full attention to either one of them. You have to put attention only one thing. And I remember when I lived here in the temple in LA in the 90s, there was one devotee who came to me saying, oh, I perfected to read the Prabhupada's book while chanting japa. I can do both things at the same time. I said, you can do both things at the same time, but you can't concentrate in both at the same time. Devotees once asked Prabhupada, when we chant japa, what we shall do? Prabhupada said, nothing, just chant. Don't do anything else. Hear and chant properly. So it's not an easy thing. The mind likes to get, distracted, diverted with so many thoughts, many things. But it takes practice, it takes effort every day. That's what Arjuna told Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. To control the mind is more difficult than to stop the storm, wind. Krishna said, yes, it is, because the mind is restless, is capricious. It is correct, the word, capricious? Yes? Okay. Whimsical, whimsical. And very stubborn. So Krishna said, yes, that's true. But by practicing and detachment, one can control the mind. The practice is trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That's the practice, to chant in a humble state of mind. No? Offering all respect to others, be more tolerant than a tree. It actually is not taror eva, it is taror api. Eva means as tolerant as a tree, but taror api means more tolerant than a tree. That's the original, actually, verse. And to offer respect to others without expecting anything in return is not an easy thing either, Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, I'm a very proud person. How can I be humble? Prabhupada said, by being humble. So the thing is, we achieve things by practicing it. It's not going to come out of thin air, The spiritual advancement or the concentration has to be practice. Prabhupada told one devotee who asked him how to become expert in Sankirtan. Prabhupada said, how somebody become a drunkard? By drinking every day. He ends up an alcoholic. In the same way, we practice every day, then becomes a natural habit. It's natural for you, like breathing, to chant and try to concentrate on the chant. It becomes natural. So that's what we need to achieve. Becomes part of our daily life to chant better japa, more concentrated japa. And that need effort. And not only one has to chant with concentration, but then one has to chant also with feeling. It's not some mechanical process. With feeling helpless, feeling in need of Krishna's mercy. And Jiva Goswami also recommends that the chanting should be flowing non-stop, without interruption, like the river Ganges flowing to the sea. That means no social japa. Haribol, Prabhu, how are you? Yes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram. And did you go to, yeah, Haribol, Nitayur, Hare Krishna. Not that kind of social japa. It has to be uninterrupted. And if the mind gets diverted, then we can see the deities or pictures of Krishna to help us concentrate. That's what Jiva Goswami is advising to all of us. All right, so I'm going to stop here. If there are any comments or questions, please do. Yes. Please do.
Comment and question.
Yeah.
In regards to properly chanting, I agree with that, what you just said, that one should hear the chanting. One time we were chanting here, and Prabhupada's tape of chanting was there. Giriraj Maharaj was in the back, and then I was looking at one devotee who was chanting very loud.
Yes.
And he noticed that. So he came to me. He said that actually what Prabhupada told one devotee that you should hear your own chanting, meaning that even his own tape.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit surprised too.
I heard it from Giriraj Swami. That's
So then I thought, then my question will be that, I accept that, but I'm thinking that sometimes some devotees will say, for those devotees who will say, well, actually I get inspired by either reading when I'm chanting, and I, like they get absorbed, they might be reading and chanting, or there might be, listen to Prabhupada's tape and they feel like they get inspired. What would be the answer? That's my question.
Well, thank you for your comment and question. Yes, I heard from Giriraj Swami that once in the Dallas temple, Prabhupada entered the room and one devotee was playing Prabhupada chanting his japa, and Prabhupada told him, you should listen to your japa, not to mine. The devotee put it very loud or something, So Prabhupada himself said, you have to hear your own japa, So even if devotees sometimes they put Prabhupada chanting, they should put it not too loud, very, lower than their own voice, so they can hear their own chanting better. Yes, Archita. But I have but there was a question about reading and chanting at the same time. I would say if you want to read, stop chanting, read something to inspire you, and then keep chanting, but not reading, chanting at the same time. We shouldn't do that. That's not correct. Prabhupada himself said we shouldn't do it. Please pass the mic to Archita Prabhu. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you for very nice points this morning. Two things. In terms of the loudness of how loud you chant, Mukunda Maharaj told me he was there in London. One devotee had gone to the dentist, and he went with another devotee. And so while they were waiting in the waiting room, the one who was going to get his teeth fixed, he was chanting very loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. So the other devotee told, don't, you're disturbing everybody. Don't chant so loud. But then the one who was chanting said, well, Prabhupada said we should chant loudly. So when they went back to the manor, the whole thing went to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, yes, you should chant loud enough to hear yourself chanting, but not so loud that you disturb others.
Yes.
So then
correct.
With the point of Prabhupada's tape, if you can chant in the temple room and hear other devotees chanting, why can't you hear Prabhupada chanting? What is the problem? Yes, there's a volume. You should set it at such a volume that it's not disturbing. But why can't you hear Prabhupada's chanting? If you can hear other devotees chanting while you're chanting, right? Other devotees are chanting in temple room, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Why can't we hear Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna? But some devotees are dead set against that tape for some reason. As soon as you put it on, turn it off. Why? Why can't I hear Sachi chant or Brigapati chant but not Prabhupada chant? And then one more piece of advice for chanting, since we're talking about chanting. The biggest problem I've found in 50 years of being around ISKCON is japa terrorists. What is a japa terrorist? Somebody who, whatever thought pops in their mind, they come and interrupt you about it. They come and ask you a question, or they want to tell you something, or
When
that's
you're
the japa.
chanting japa.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
your number one job while you're chanting japa is to avoid japa terrorists. Don't be afraid to say, please don't disturb me. I want to finish my
Unless
round.
something life or death.
Yeah, it's not life or death.
situation.
They just some idea comes in their head. They remember something and they want to
Yeah,
come
yeah.
and share it with you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
interrupt your
Yeah,
japa.
that's not correct.
Yeah, so
you know.
don't allow japa terrorism.
Thank you for saying
Protect
that.
your own japa. Don't depend on somebody else to protect it for you.
Actually, once Prabhupada was in his room, and one devotee outside his room was chanting very loudly, and Prabhupada came out and told him, please chant more softly. I need to take a little rest, you know. So we have to be more conscious of others' needs, not just think, okay, I mean, we had some time devotee like that who like to chant too loudly. So, okay, please chant outside. You can chant as loud as you want, you know. So we have to be more conscious of other devotees, you know, needs. Thank you for sharing that. Any other comment, questions? All right, very good. Yes. Okay, repeat your question, the mic, please, but put it close to you.
Sure.
Keep it closer.
Sure.
So everybody can hear it on the internet.
Yeah. So as compared to the chanting 16 rounds at one go, would it have any better effect than chanting in having some small breaks?
Depends. If you are chanting with concentration, of course, yes. But if you are chanting your rounds at different intervals, but you're still doing it with concentration, it's better than chanting all at the same time with no concentration. So concentration is the key to success. Even if you chant all together or in different part of the day. I mean, Prabhupada himself said when he was a businessman, grihasta, he would chant 4 rounds before breakfast, 4 rounds before lunch, because he had many things to do, businessman, you know, you have to maintain the family. So in the afternoon we chant 4 more before, in the evening, the last 4. Well, I mean, but of course, if Prabhupada said, if we can chant 16 rounds before Mangalarti, that's best. But I mean to say, sometimes devotees want to do that artificially, so they go to sleep at 7 p.m. and go to wake up at 1, you know, to chant. I mean to say, I mean, Prabhupada said we should sleep 6 hours, you know, regular hours, from 9 or 10, you know, to 3 in the morning or something. Like more natural, you know. Prabhupada wake up at 1 in the morning to translate his books, of course. He couldn't sleep more than 2 hours. He didn't need alarm clock to wake up. Yes, Swavas Prabhu.
Thank you for a nice class, Maharaj. I always thought that it was important to have like Prabhupada tape playing, chanting japa. Because I find that, you know, not very loud, softly. Because I always found that, you know, while you're chanting your japa, your mind can take you immediately off into another world.
Yes.
And you could be thinking about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I find out that if I'm just chanting my japa and Prabhupada's there in the tape, it brings me back to chanting my rounds.
Yeah, that's okay. If
To
we do
hear
it, put it softly. It's
softly.
okay.
You know, nothing loud, but softly. But it kind of helped me in my chanting that Prabhupada would remind me, Hare Krishna, because the mind can take you off for a ride, and you can do a half a round and you forgot you were even chanting.
That's true. I like when he say, sit properly.
Yeah, exactly.
You immediately fix your mind properly, you know, in the chanting. Thank you for sharing that.
Sometimes, Maharaj, this is a comment, and maybe you can make a comment of this, that, you know, we are so absorbed about, you know, like we're in a community where there's many devotees, you want to do the best for yourself, right? That you might forget and not the other ones. Like, for example, sometimes at the pujari room, when they're dressing the deities, I heard some tape very loud. And I'm thinking, well, this devotee is actually relishing what he's hearing, but he's thinking about him or two there. But they might be thinking the other way around. The devotees here in the temple, they're chanting loud, so it's like a competition who
will do it louder.
Who will do it louder so they can hear. So that I just...
No, Prabhupada said we should have cooperation.
Exactly.
Cooperation means we try to understand other needs. We try to, cooperate. If there is need to lower the volume, lower the volume, to help others to concentrate in their chanting. Sometimes this happens. I've seen it also in other temples, Mexico City. You're chanting before Mangal Arati and the pujari putting loud music and the altar, things like that. So they should be more conscious not to do that, Put it lower volume, if you want, but...
Just to be aware of everybody's same tune.
Yes, it's practical things. We need to, Prabhupada said we have to be practical. Prabhupada said the best plan is the one that works. So it works, do it. And Prabhupada said, I only can suggest. I only can suggest, And he never enforced things like that. He's always a perfect gentleman, And Prabhupada said very important things, He put a sign on the door in the temple because devotees were confused. What is more priority, Some devotees were not taking care properly of their health to do more service and things like that. So Prabhupada made a list of priority things. He said, first thing, take care of your health. Second, chant your japa. Third, you do your prescribed service duties. And four, read the books. Read the books. So in that order of importance. First, take care of your health. Because if you don't have good health, you can't do much service. Yes, Acharya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So going for what you just said now, the health, chanting, service, and read the books.
Yes.
So because some devotees said that service is chanting, or reading books is also service, and also we can get caught in not doing practical service and taking chanting and reading or studying Prabhupada's books as a service. So how to understand this?
Of course, all of them are service, undoubtedly. But Prabhupada being practicing about your prescribed service, if you have a service, particular service to do, like going on book distribution or worshiping the deity or any other service, BBT service, anything, you have to do that. After japa, this is the priority. You have to be responsible. You do your assigned duty in devotional service. Of course, reading the book is devotional service, chanting japa is also devotional service. But undoubtedly. Actually, it's the most important service, chanting. Because unless we chant, we don't have the proper consciousness to do other services. And Prabhupada said it's more important our state of mind doing the service than the service itself. So if we have the state of mind of doing it to please Guru and Krishna, then that's the proper mentality. But we can do it also, the service in the mode of ignorance or passion, or goodness, In the mode of ignorance, is, to give you an example, somebody is chanting japa and falling asleep. And when some other devotee come to wake him up, Prabhu, sorry, but he will become angry. Why? You are sleeping, not me. Leave me alone. and the mode of passion, they chant so fast, they mispronounce some of the words, or don't chant the last Hare Hare or something. It's not a race. Once Prabhupada corrected the devotees, he was walking in Vrindavan with devotee, and they behind him chanting. Prabhupada turned to them, what is this Krish Krish Shram Nam Nam? What is this? Chant properly. Prabhupada chastised the devotee. So that's the mode of passion. We want to chant to finish. One devotee came to me, I'm chanting my one round in 5 minutes. He said, that is too fast, It's not a race, It's just try to concentrate. May take 8 minutes at least, 7-8 minutes. Some devotee may take 9 or 10 minutes. But the important thing is not a race, is to chant with attention, to hear the words, all the 16 words, without omitting a single word. I hear the devotee chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. What is that? How many Hare did you miss? I mean, that's lack of concentration in the chanting. So we have, and the mode of goodness, we try to chant, hear and chant properly, the 16 words, pay attention, try to concentrate. That's mode of goodness. And then we come to the stage of chanting feelingly, with feeling, attachment to chanting, feeling helpless, feeling Krishna's need of protecting us. That's better. Because most devotees, we chant mechanically. That's the truth. Even after many years, we still chant because we have to chant. We have to come to the stage that I want to chant. I love to chant. I can't breathe without chanting. Another thing, I've heard devotees doing pranayama while chanting. They measure the amount of breathing while chanting. That's also nonsense. We are not practicing pranayama yoga. We have to practice bhakti yoga. Concentrate on the holy name, not on the breathing. I've heard that sometimes. Breathe. Another, you are meditating on pranayama, not on bhakti. Anyway. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Haribol.